I was about to drop my bank card into the donation box when one of Zhao Jun's buddies sneered. "Qin Tinju, don't think that donating more money will make Zhao Jun be with you. Yeah, Zhao Jun doesn't care about your filthy money." I snapped back to reality, my gaze lingering on the card in my hand before I put it back in my pocket. "Fine, since it's filthy money, I won't donate it. I wouldn't want to dirty the donation box." Zhao Jun came from a poor family, with a mother who had been chronically ill for years. He was well known in school as a poor student, so the teachers organized a donation drive for his family. In my previous life, I was foolish and wealthy, donating all the 100,000 yuans I had saved over the past 2 years. My donation stood out among the sea of smaller contributions. Others whispered about my generosity, but Zhao Jun's friends accused me of using money to humiliate him. Since that was the case, in this life, I wouldn't humiliate him. Qi Hui, another poor student like Zhao Jun, suddenly shouted, "This is a donation drive. How can you say you won't donate?" Her family was no better off than Zhao Jun's, but she was cheerful and cute, often seen with him. I found it amusing and retorted, "You all despised my money and didn't want me to donate. Now that I'm complying, you're unhappy? Are you all crazy?" Qi Hui's face turned red as she argued, "You were the one who used money to insult Zhao Jun first." "Yes, yes." I spread my hands. "So I'm taking it back, not insulting him anymore. Isn't that what you wanted?" From my first year in college, I had been openly pursuing Zhao Jun, and everyone knew it. This sudden change in behavior made the atmosphere awkward. Qi Hui, not the brightest, thought for a moment and said, "Oh, you're afraid of embarrassing him in public? You can give it to him privately later." I glanced at Zhao Jun, who stood aside, his gaze unfocused as if none of this concerned him. In my previous life, he had always been like this, watching coldly with an air of superiority. I sneered. "Why should I care about embarrassing him? You said you didn't want it, so don't take it. I'll use the money to buy treats for the stray dogs near my house." At least the stray dogs knew how to wag their tails and make me happy. What did Zhao Jun do besides spend my money and break my heart? Zhao Jun had good grades and looks. He came from a poor mountain village and was chosen to give a speech as the freshman representative. Just one look, and I was smitten. Although he had excellent high school grades, they were only impressive in his province. At this prestigious university, his grades were average, and he couldn't get high scholarships. The scholarships he did get barely covered his living expenses. Even with poverty assistance, he couldn't afford tuition and struggled to live in the big city. Other girls, seeing his situation, wouldn't approach him even if they liked him. Only I was foolish enough to bring him meals every day, transfer money to his account monthly, pay his mother's medical bills, and buy him new clothes every season. I practically supported him entirely. But he never showed me a kind face. When his resume reached my family's company, I pulled strings to get him a position. With his abilities, he wouldn't have gotten into Kin Group otherwise. I even proposed to him. Even in modern times, it's rare for a girl to propose, especially to someone who doesn't like her. But I liked him. I offered to fund his startup. For someone from a humble background like Zhao Jun, this was a huge temptation. He agreed. For 3 years of marriage, he wasn't as cold to me initially. At least he spoke to me kindly, and I rarely saw Qi Hui around. I thought he had come to appreciate me. I was too foolish. He was just pretending to make me happy, to take my money, and to bankrupt my family business to welcome his 10-year-old white moonlight. That day, Kihui, holding her pregnant belly, laughed. I'm 3 months pregnant. Your family is bankrupt, and you can't help Zhao Jun anymore. If you're smart, divorce him. Oh, if you hurry to your company, you might see your father one last time. She showed me her phone screen, displaying a live stream about Kin Group. Look, everyone. That's the chairman of Kin Group on the rooftop. The company's bankrupt and he's going to jump. Hey, Mr. Kin, are you jumping or not? Days of overwork made me breathless. Kin Tinju, thanks to you, Zhao Jun could bankrupt your company so quickly. Kihui laughed maliciously. I thought the company's troubles were temporary, but it was Zhao Jun's long-planned scheme. I was so busy, sleepless for days, all because of Zhao Jun. My vision darkened, and I fainted. I vaguely heard Zhao Jun's gentle voice. Hui, don't tire yourself. Go sit down. What about Kin Tinju? Let her die. Don't worry about her. I really died and deeply regretted it. In this new life, I would stay far away from Zhao Jun, protect my father, and safeguard the company. As for Zhao Jun, without my money, I wanted to see how he would survive. I expected him to come to me, but not so soon. The day after the donation drive, he blocked me at the classroom door. Zhao Jun naturally extended his hand. I sidestepped him and walked into the classroom. Kin Tinju, where's my breakfast? He frowned, blocking my way. What breakfast? I raised an eyebrow. I don't have a habit of running errands. Zhao Jun's face stiffened, displeased. What game are you playing now? Do you think not donating or bringing me breakfast will get my attention? I extended a finger, moving his arm aside. Then why are you blocking me? Trying to get my attention? He quickly withdrew his hand, his face darkening. Zhao Jun was so proud, taking my money while resenting me for giving it. Every time I transferred money to him, he would scold me, warning me not to have any delusions about him. But he never mentioned not taking the money or returning it. He acted as if I owed him. His friends were the same, looking down on me for throwing money around but sticking to him because of the money I gave him. Zhao Jun thought they were good friends, but they were just after my money. Hypocrites. But this time, Zhao Jun left empty-handed. His friends swarmed around him. Zhao Jun, what's for breakfast today? Zhao Jun glanced at me, saying nothing. I never knew what he liked, so I always bought a variety of breakfasts for him to choose from. The leftovers he would share with others. But this time, they would be disappointed. One of his friends noticed his glance and slammed the table. Kin Tinju, not donating is one thing, but not bringing breakfast. How selfish can you be? Annoyed by their disturbance, I mocked. What? Do you expect me to support you for life? Call me daddy, and I might consider it. His friend turned red, still defiant. It's just breakfast. You're rich, can't you spare a little? I pretended to scrutinize him. Do you know you look like a beggar asking for handouts? Zhao Jun finally couldn't hold back, coldly saying, Enough. I'll get a scholarship. I don't need your charity. I looked at him. For the first time in 10 years, I heard him speak with such pride, and I couldn't help but laugh. Zhao Jun's face darkened. What are you laughing at? You think I can't do it? Oh, nothing. Good luck. I'll be watching. If he could do it, why didn't he before? Because he couldn't. I supported him to make his life easier, so he could focus on his goals. But he didn't improve academically, proving he wasn't capable. I used to transfer living expenses to Zhao Jun monthly, and he always spent it all. Whenever he received money, his friends would pester him to treat them, and Qi Hui would hint at her struggles, so he would share the money with her and buy her gifts. Looking back, I was a saint, supporting so many people before even starting my own family. But this month, I didn't transfer any money. Zhao Jun's mother was seriously ill and needed money urgently. The class donation wasn't enough, and even if Zhao Jun used all his living expenses, it wouldn't cover it. When my driver picked me up, he habitually asked, "Miss, to the hospital?" I used to visit Zhao Jun's mother at the end of each month and pay her medical bills. I shook my head. "No, home. And don't ask again in the future." The driver's surprise quickly faded, and he turned the car around. He was used to taking me to the hospital, asking out of routine, knowing my answer. But there would be no more of that. As soon as I got home, the hospital called. "Miss Qin, this month's medical bill hasn't been paid." Zhao Jun had listed me as the contact. "Call Zhao Jun, I won't pay for him anymore." I hung up, hearing my father's surprised voice behind me. "Zhao Yu, why are you home so early?" My eyes welled up. In my previous life, he worked himself to the bone, his health deteriorating. He was a strong man, raising me alone and surviving several crises at Kin Group. But that day, he chose to jump, not wanting to burden me. Seeing my silence, he rushed over. "What's wrong? Did Zhao Jun bully you? I'll deal with him." I quickly stopped him. "No one can bully me. I'm done with him." He froze, then laughed. "Good. You finally saw through him. My daughter is smart, seeing his true colors so quickly." He knew Zhao Jun wasn't good and had tried to warn me, but I was infatuated. He could only protect me as best he could, but in the end, everything fell apart. I took a deep breath, changing the subject. "Dad, I saw your friends' posts about taking care of your health at your age. Let's go for a checkup tomorrow." He nodded, pleased. "Of course. My daughter cares about me, so I'll do it." While he was getting checked, I went to pay the bill and saw Zhao Jun and Qi Hui pleading with the doctor for more time, asking for treatment before payment. Holding the receipt, I queued up. Qi Hui, with sharp eyes, spotted me. "Doctor, the payer is here. Over there. Can we start the treatment now?" Qi Hui excitedly pointed at me. I rolled my eyes. She really had a screw loose. I had made myself clear before, but she still didn't get it. Ignoring her, I paid for the checkup. The doctor glanced at the system and shook his head. "No payment yet. Stop trying to fool me. Think about how to raise the money. I have things to do." As I was about to leave, Qi Hui grabbed me. "Didn't you pay?" I nodded calmly. "Yes, I did." "Then why did the doctor say you didn't?" I asked, puzzled. "Why would I pay for his mother? It's none of my business." I paused, pretending to realize. "Oh, you wanted me to pay for him? Dream on. I'm not a charity." Zhao Jun frowned. "You used to pay. What about my mother now? She's your mother, not mine. I shrugged, indifferent. Since she's your mother, you figure it out. Zhao Jun looked like he was bearing a great burden. You want to be with me so badly, to make her your mother. Pay the bill, and I'll consider making you my girlfriend. I stepped back. That's not right. My mother is dead. Are you saying you want your mother too? Qi Hui screamed. Qin Tinju, you're so evil. You want Andy to die. I quickly waved my hands. I didn't say that. You did. If you want to save her, you pay. I have things to do. Bye. It's not that I'm heartless. Every time I visited Zhao Jun's mother, she treated me like an ATM, seeing me as a fool. Even after I married Zhao Jun, she always urged him to give her all the money. I wouldn't save her a second time. After my father's checkup, I noted everything the doctor said. This time, I would ensure his health and protect his business. Zhao Jun took on multiple jobs, no longer treating his friends or giving Qi Hui money. He even asked them to repay him. He kept track of every penny, demanding repayment. Of course, the results were disappointing. His fair-weather friends scattered, leaving only Qi Hui. She probably thought I was just angry and would eventually help Zhao Jun again. She was wrong. In the classroom, she brazenly said, I know you're jealous because of me, but don't worry. Zhao Jun and I have nothing going on. You can keep supporting him. He really needs money now. Give him 100,000 yuans, and he'll be with you. 100,000 yuan. I laughed. How shameless. Who said he didn't need my charity? And who are you to say this to me? Besides, with 100,000 yuans, I can find anyone. Why him? I glanced at Zhao Jun's approaching figure. He clenched his fists, his face pale from overwork, looking humiliated but submissive. Qin Tinju, you win. I'll be with you. Pay the medical bill. I sneered. Why force yourself? Did I make you? When did I say I wanted to be with you? He took a deep breath, closing his eyes. You like me, right? I agree. You stopped giving me money to force me. You succeeded. Are you happy now? I coldly replied. I don't like you anymore. You're poor and useless. Why should I like you? Stop bothering me, always asking for money. Got it? Zhao Jun staggered, disbelief on his face. Impossible, even if you don't like me. Can't you help me one last time? The money I gave you should be enough for the medical bill. You spent it all, gave it to others. Blame yourself. Find the money yourself. He turned pale, reaching for me. Qin Tinju. I stepped back, avoiding him. He collapsed. I was reminded of my own death, collapsing in front of Zhao Jun. Zhao Jun. Qin Tinju, you went too far. You made him faint. Qi Hui screamed, rushing to check on him. Zhao Jun was breathing fine, unlike me when I died. He was just unconscious. Annoyed, I kicked him. Hey! Wake up! He didn't move. Classmates gathered, chattering, but no one helped. I pointed at Zhao Jun's usual friends. You guys, you enjoyed his treats. Now it's time to repay. Take him to the infirmary. Why should we? You made him faint. I sneered. You spent his money, making him work and faint. Should I call the police to settle your debts? That money was mine. I have the right to take it back. They fell silent, reluctantly lifting Zhao Jun and carrying him out. Qi Hui glared at me, filled with resentment. What did she have to resent? I remembered how she always sowed discord between Zhao Jun and me. When I wore new clothes, she would say, Qin Tinju is so lucky, always wearing new clothes. We're not like her, always saving money. Right, Zhao Jun? When I carried a new bag, she would say, That's a luxury brand, right? Zhao Jun, you've never seen one, right? We're not in her league. Even when I bought a cup of milk tea, she would comment, This costs dozens of yuan. I've never had one. You must look down on our cheap drinks. I tried to explain, but Zhao Jun wouldn't listen. He only grew more resentful, thinking I was flaunting my wealth and looking down on him. Qi Hui was smug. I had everything but couldn't win Zhao Jun. She had a good relationship with him, as if she had something I couldn't get. I realized she was jealous. Jealous of my background and trying to get money from me through Zhao Jun. She always flaunted the gifts Zhao Jun bought her. They were bought with my money. The watch she wore was a gift from me to Zhao Jun, but he gave it to her. She would innocently ask, Oh, this was your gift to Zhao Jun. He didn't like it and gave it to me. You don't mind, right? Or should I return it? But you might not want it after I've worn it. Zhao Jun would glare at me, and I wouldn't dare say I minded. Anything I said was wrong. In front of Zhao Jun, I lost my pride. I rarely gave gifts, but he easily gave mine away. I realized I hadn't bought anything for myself in a long time. My living expenses went to Zhao Jun's mother's medical bills. While Zhao Jun was in the infirmary, I went shopping. I needed to celebrate my escape from misery, and the best way was to shop. Unexpectedly, I saw Qi Hui. She should have been in the infirmary with Zhao Jun. I followed her quietly into a luxury watch store. Blushing, she asked the salesperson to return a watch. I watched her get rejected. She had no receipt. I had cut the tags and thrown the receipts to spare Zhao Jun's pride. Qi Hui turned, seeing me. I smiled. You guessed right. She was furious. It's your fault for not giving Zhao Jun money, making me return his gift. Is it for Zhao Jun or yourself? I glanced at the nearby escalator. She quickly denied. What are you talking about? I don't need money. Then why come when he's sick? She was speechless, then admitted. You figured it out. I hate you, so I got close to Zhao Jun to disgust you and get money. It's your money. I took your man and your money. Are you happy? I smiled. She was more agitated. You're rich, so what? Zhao Jun doesn't like you. His mother doesn't like you. She wants me as her daughter-in-law. Zhao Jun is poor, but only you are stupid enough to give him money. I benefited. Shut up. Zhao Jun arrived, furious. I had seen him earlier, waiting for him to hear his white moonlight's true feelings. Zhao Jun didn't question her but looked at me. Qin Tinju, I like you. Don't listen to her. What a joke. In 2 lifetimes, 10 years, he never said he liked me. He even hated me, destroying my family. How could he say such things? I had seen him like someone. He was gentle and caring with Qi Hui. When I died in front of him, he only cared about Qi Hui, telling her not to tire herself. He never treated me that way. I helped him secure investments, got drunk at business dinners, and vomited until I was dizzy. He never even poured me a glass of water. On my birthday, I bought myself a cake and asked him to come home early. He used work as an excuse and stayed out all night. His mother thought that marrying me meant she could be a tyrannical mother-in-law. She always treated me with disdain, and he never defended me. Despite all this, Zhao Jun could still say he liked me. He was insulting the word like. I felt nothing but disgust. I mocked. Do you even hear yourself? Qi Hui, clutching the watch, looked panicked. Zhao Jun, are you sick? She's not from our world. She won't truly care for you. You're just her plaything. Zhao Jun glared at her. Stop saying that. You're just trying to drive a wedge between us. I was wrong about you. Qi Hui, desperate, clung to his arm. I was just angry. I wanted to upset Qin Tinju, not really insult you. I watched the farce unfold. Qi Hui was losing the only thing she could take from me and was desperate to hold on. And that thing was trying to break free from her grasp. How laughable. As they argued, I slipped away unnoticed. Zhao Jun's disgusting display reminded me not to be soft-hearted. I used to give up scholarship opportunities, and Zhao Jun barely made the cut. I included him in competitions, even if he didn't contribute, so he could get a participation award. I reapplied for scholarships and switched to individual competitions. I told my assistant to follow the proper procedures for company scholarships, excluding Zhao Jun and Qi Hui. Kin Group's scholarships were the highest, and they didn't qualify. I had previously instructed my assistant to include them. Originally, it was just Zhao Jun, but Qi Hui shamelessly grouped herself with him, making it seem like I was looking down on them if I didn't help. To please Zhao Jun, I included her too. A few days later, the scholarship list was announced. Qi Hui, not finding her name, confronted me. Qin Tinju, why did you remove me and Zhao Jun? Does Kin Group only listen to you? Doesn't it? I smiled. You didn't qualify. Without me, you wouldn't have been included before. What about the scholarship? Why didn't Zhao Jun get it? I shrugged. Poor grades. Not my fault. You're rich. Why compete for scholarships? Classmates gathered, whispering. I laughed. Who did I take it from? Did I take your spot? A classmate raised a hand. No. My grades aren't good enough. Even if you didn't apply, I wouldn't get it. I'm in the top 3. You can't push me out. Fair competition. What's this about taking spots? If you're not good enough, don't blame others. We're civilized people. Zhao Jun entered the classroom. Qi Hui, seeing him as a savior, forgot their previous argument and defended him. Zhao Jun, Qin Tinju took your scholarship and aid. She's so evil and selfish, knowing you need it for your mother. Zhao Jun pushed her away, coldly saying, It's not her fault. I didn't meet the requirements. You're the one causing trouble. Qi Hui, shocked, stared at him. What? I'm helping you. Didn't you say you needed the scholarship? Zhao Jun looked at me. Qi Hui was out of line. I'm sorry. Qi Hui glared at me, filled with hatred. I felt a chill, sensing something bad. Zhao Jun asked to meet by the lake. I didn't want to go, but he said it would be the last time. We would go our separate ways. When I arrived, he was staring at the water. Qin Tinju, I had a dream. In it, you weren't like this. You donated, supported me, and married me. He turned, testing me. Since he first said he liked me, I felt something was off. His public defense of me was even stranger. Now, his test confirmed my suspicion. I continued. And then I died, right? You killed me. Zhao Jun had also been reborn. He dropped his facade, revealing the calm demeanor of his later years, but with a hint of nervousness. I regret it. I regret not saving you. I was insecure and let Qihui manipulate me. I thought she was my true love, but after we married, I realized she just wanted my money. She never loved me. Only you truly cared for me. I replied coldly. That doesn't matter anymore. There's no true care left. Zhao Jun's eyes reddened. Can you give me another chance? I died too. Qihui pushed me off a cliff, saying I fell and inherited everything. She had a lover. We both died. We're even. I mocked. She didn't push you. How are we even? He pleaded. Then kill me. Qin Tinju, let's start over. I'll treat you better than I did Qihui. I truly regret it. After I died, I realized how good you were to me. I looked at him with disdain. You don't need to think about it. It won't happen. But I'm curious, how thick-skinned are you to say such things? Are you trying to live off me? Hit me, scold me, I deserve it. But don't leave me. Zhao Jun looked like an abandoned puppy. Turns out my dream was real. Since you're both back, let's die together. A sharp, venomous voice interrupted. Qihui rushed over, shoving me towards the water. There were no railings. I couldn't swim, and neither could Zhao Jun. But Zhao Jun pushed me away and pulled Qihui into the lake. Qihui struggled in the water. Zhao Jun smiled, obsessed and crazed. I'll trade my life. Can we start over? Lunatic. I grabbed a life ring from a nearby pavilion and threw it, then called campus security. Both were hospitalized. The lakeside cameras clearly showed Qihui pushing me, and Zhao Jun's grab was seen as a reflexive self-rescue. Qihui was detained after waking up. She knew we couldn't swim and pushed us, attempting murder. She had been a thorn between Zhao Jun and me for years. I kindly visited her. She looked terrible, her hair cut short, her face sallow, lacking the vitality that attracted Zhao Jun. I always wondered how she stayed by Zhao Jun's side for so long. Maybe it was because they were alike. Zhao Jun, struggling, saw her as a bright sun, shining on him. Or maybe his insecurity made him feel more unbalanced around me, turning all feelings into jealousy and hatred. But it didn't matter anymore. Qihui glared at me. Too bad I didn't kill you. You have everything, and now you even have Zhao Jun. You must be so smug, laughing at me for getting nothing, like a clown. I couldn't help but laugh. I don't need to laugh behind your back. I'm here to laugh in your face. She furiously pounded on the window, wanting to tear me apart. But she was trapped, unable to touch me. Seeing her misery, I was satisfied. As for Zhao Jun, who killed me, he had to atone. I wouldn't support him, and neither would King Group's allies. If he had talent, he could earn scholarships. But he couldn't. I studied hard and tutored classmates with similar grades, aiming to surpass him. Zhao Jun silently endured, not daring to complain, always looking at me with pleading eyes, disgusting me. After graduation, he applied to Kin Group. But Kin Group would never hire him. My father, without my prompting, refused to hire someone with poor character. Zhao Jun couldn't find a job, working part-time to barely survive. He couldn't pay medical bills, and his mother was kicked out of the hospital. They lived in a basement. How long she would last, I didn't care. As long as they suffered. I found someone compatible, with similar values and interests. Following my father's advice, I got along well with his old friend's son. We shared hobbies, respected each other, supported each other in life and work. I didn't have to please him, and he didn't maliciously misinterpret me. When we walked into a restaurant together, we saw Zhao Jun working as a waiter. He approached our table, looking nervous and hopeful. Qin Tinju, this is... I didn't hesitate to crush his hope. My boyfriend, Wen Chengren. Wen Chengren knew my history with Zhao Jun. When I asked if he minded, he said he wanted to be the last person I cared about, and the one who didn't appreciate me would never have another chance. Now, Wen Chengren smiled confidently. Hello, I'm Zhao Yu's boyfriend and fiancé. We're getting married in a month. If you're free, you can witness our important moment. He held my hand possessively, as if protecting his territory. I gave him a reassuring look. Though he invited Zhao Jun to the wedding, he didn't offer an invitation. Clearly, he didn't want him there. I didn't call him out, tapping the tablet to order. I've ordered. You can go. Zhao Jun lowered his head. I really have no chance, do I? I ignored him, discussing our date plans with Wen Chengren. Zhao Jun silently left. I thought he wouldn't bother me again.